Normally, we do a Premier League update video every month, and what we will usually do is we'll cover some of the important key storylines going on in the Premier League. But this season is different because in April, 1 month left in the season, the top two teams in the Premier League are tied on points, tied on goal differential, and City is ahead by goals scored. In the relegation battle, Tottenham Hotspur, if relegated, would be the biggest relegation of the Premier League era, but West Ham and Nottingham are not too far ahead of them. And even looking further in the table, separating sixth place, a Europa League or potentially even a Champions League spot, and 14th place with just 5 games to go is only 8 points. So I truly believe that there is not a team in the Premier League not worth talking about right now. So instead of just covering some storylines, we are going to give you our final table predictions, 1 to 20th, on how we think the last month of the Premier League is going to play out.
Yeah, only 5 more match weeks. There's just one other match there. So even for the two teams there, City and Palace, it's only 6 games. And yeah, we're just gonna go rapid fire through all of them. Starting with, let's do Wolves. I mean, usually we don't talk about Wolves much, but again, like you said, I think we need to give every team their flowers. Not long ago, I would have had Wolves a few points above Burnley because of that energy they were bringing to their games. But I've got them in 20th here because they aren't anymore. Let's be realistic. I think they'll bring some of that back now that they're confirmed relegated and once again they can play a bit liberated. But just based off their last 5 matches, I don't think they can close the 3 point gap quick enough. Burnley, first off, can occasionally just like cheese a draw, which is going to give them an extra point if they need it. But let's say Burnley get nothing. Wolves can maybe draw Tottenham, like you said they might, though I still have a Tottenham 1-0 personally.
Now,
Maybe they draw.
I will say that
Yeah.
I thought Xavi Simmons would be playing, and so that could change things. To
Okay.
be
Yeah.
fair,
Yeah. Maybe they draw Sunderland at home, but Sunderland are pretty good away now. They just had a great away game at Aston Villa, so I'm not even seeing 1 point there for Wolves. No points at Brighton, maybe a point at Fulham, and then they go away to Burnley on the final day. If Burnley play out a draw, like they like to do, they keep 19th. So I don't think it works out for Wolves, unfortunately. It's been a good run as of late, given how shit they were at the start of the season. You'll just hope they bring some hope with them to the championship, and maybe they come back up next season. Yeah.
one of the interesting what ifs, I think, when we look at the end of the season, is what Wolves would have looked like if Rob Edwards was their manager at the beginning of the year. Because 19 match weeks into the Premier League, Wolves did not register yet a single win, and I believe they only had 2 points, or maybe three. They were on pace to break Derby's record for the statistical worst season in Premier League history. And even though they have not looked particularly good since. They've had good stretches. They've gone another, I believe, 15 points. And so one only wonders if Rob Edward were given the time he needed to really gel with this squad. They're basically averaging a point a game since then. Could they have stayed up? A point a game, if you average that over the course of the entire season, would put them fairly close to where the relegation battling teams are right now. But alas, that is not to be. And their one chance of making it up to 19th would be that final day match against Burnley. But I agree with what you're saying. I do think that Burnley like to play for draws, and I think that at their home stadium, they will be able to at least get a draw. So I think 20th for Wolves, 19th for Burnley seems pretty fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, again, Burnley could find a point somewhere, not necessarily because they deserve one, but things just work out for them like that sometimes, right? And even if they get nothing else, I think they can at least draw Wolves and keep ahead that way. So 20th Wolves, 19th Burnley, and that is going to take us to, well, the more important part of the relegation battle, which is 18th and 17th. And we're actually going to do these two together because it is just that dramatic potentially that we think it is worth, instead of going place by place, doing both of them at the same time. I'll start here. First off, my candidates are Tottenham and West Ham. I think Forest barely edged their way out, as do Leeds. Game by game, I've got Tottenham beating Wolves this match week still, week 34. Though again, with Xavi Simmons out, that's only going to be even harder. So we'll see if that happens. West Ham draws Everton. And if that happens, Spurs draw level with the Hammers and they actually go ahead on goal difference. So Spurs will be back out of the drop zone. But those next matches are going to be tough for Tottenham. I've got West Ham drawing next with Brentford. Not an easy feat to be clear, but I think they can go out and do what they need to do for a draw. Meanwhile,
So
Tottenham
we're
are going
still
to
at the
get
G-Tac.
it'll be tough, but
Interesting.
West Ham can bring that energy to their games. I think we've seen that from them. Tottenham, however much energy they can manage to bring, I don't think it's going to be enough to stop them getting battered by Aston Villa in the same match week. So then we'll see West Ham understandably lose to Arsenal. Tottenham, I have them drawing at home to Leeds, who again with this match can almost certainly finally confirm that they stay up. Spurs lose to Chelsea probably. It is a bit of a shit off in that game, the way things are looking, but I do still think Chelsea are better than Spurs. West Ham lose to Newcastle. Again, could be a draw, maybe, because Newcastle are kind of mid as well, but I'll say this is a loss. Which takes this to the final day. Both teams go in with equal points. Tottenham are still ahead on goal difference. Tottenham get a solid draw against Everton, and West Ham beat Leeds, confirming survival for both of them and relegating Tottenham on the final day of the season. Yeah,
Interesting. So
it'll be
what is
down to
the
the wire.
final points total for you?
The final points, I have got West Ham on 38 and Tottenham are on 36 to end it off.
Wow. Okay.
Goal diff would mean that if they had managed to stay level, Tottenham are like pretty decently ahead on goal diff and they stay up. But it is
Interesting.
that late win for West Ham that gets them through for me.
I too think that this relegation battle is going to go down to the final match week. And I'm going to also give my week by week predictions. So West Ham against Everton and Tottenham against Wolves. I'm going to keep my predictions that I made in the last video. Both of those results I think will be draws. I think West Ham and Tottenham will continue to mirror each other rather, with losses in each of their next two fixtures, meaning coming into match week 36, Tottenham will still be 2 points behind. But that's where I think the tide shifts. West Ham is going to lose to Arsenal, and Tottenham is going to beat Leeds. And the reason why I think Tottenham can beat Leeds, one, they're at home. Two, Xavi Simons will be back. And three, De Zerbi, for all of his faults, both morally and tactically, he has radically already, I think, made this Tottenham squad better. In fact, they would have gotten a point against, or not even a point, they would have gotten a win against Brighton had Kevin Danso not made that stupid error. And coming into match week 37, Tottenham I will actually have ahead of West Ham by a point. Then both teams lose match week on match week 37 to Newcastle and Chelsea respectively. And on the final match week, I will agree with you that Tottenham get a draw against Everton. And I also agree with you that West Ham get a win against Leeds, meaning on the final match day, even though Tottenham will start that day ahead of West Ham will survive and make a great escape, meaning I have Tottenham Hotspur in 18th and West Ham in 17th.
So you also had them Tottenham a point ahead, yes, going into that final day.
I had
Match
Tottenham,
is
yes,
a
that's
bit
correct.
different, but it works out that way. Yeah, yeah. Oh well, actually, I think no. I had them on equal points. So you have Tottenham a point ahead. Oh, that means you have West Ham winning by just 1 point.
I
Yes.
have West Ham winning by
So
1 point.
even closer. Okay. Wow.
Because I don't have them drawing against Brentford. I don't think they can do that.
Fair
You
enough.
you
Fair
want to
enough.
talk a little bit
Yeah.
about why though? Why do we have West Ham ahead of Tottenham, both of us? It might not be the same, but
Um, I mean, it's just if you watch Tottenham, it's just like everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Oh no, it's hard to really put a finger on it. And yeah, it is definitely getting better under De Zerbi, and I think they can improve pretty quickly. But it's just like there will be nagging faults for them. Just like there have been so many issues that they've had to deal with that I just can't think that all of them manage to get solved by season's end, and there isn't something that pops up for Tottenham in these like more close games that ends up losing them points. Yeah.
well, I said this in the Brighton video, or I guess the video where we talked about Tottenham playing Brighton, and I think that if Christian Romero were playing in that match, he easily makes the clearance, Tottenham secure the 3 points, and they would currently be safe. And I think Christian Romero is the heart and soul of this Tottenham squad. And if we just want to see how big his impact was, I mean, I gave that game as one example. But remember, the last time he was not available, he was suspended for 4 games after getting a red card. At the start of that suspension, Tottenham were still several points clear of relegation. They then lost all 4 games when they were missing him, and by the end of it, they were only 2 points away from relegation, and look where they are now. I think having somebody like that on your squad who is experienced, who has been there before, who can push your teammates forward when they're faltering or nervous, that is so crucial. West Ham have that. I think Jared Bowen plays that role for them. And if Christian Romero is out for the season, which he is due to injury, that is going to be the difference maker, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. Honestly, injuries have been such a problem for Tottenham, and they will really wish that they could have some of those guys back. But what is it, like Madison, Kulusevski, that we've been saying? Well, if they come back at some point in this season, they'll be such a big boon for Tottenham. It's not happening, unfortunately. They have some great players that are, off to the side right now. And unfortunately, they're just going to have to watch as the team very likely does drop down. Yeah. Okay, well, what about our other relegation guys? Who have you got in 16th here?
My 16th place team is Nottingham. And
Okay.
I'll give 2 reasons to that. One is that there is a little bit of a cushion between the other teams that are ahead of Nottingham and Nottingham themselves. And also, they are going to be split in terms of attentions because they're going to be playing in the Europa League against Aston Villa, which will affect the next few match weeks for them. I think it's also worth mentioning they have a pretty tough schedule ahead of them. Sunderland, uh, that is not always going to be an easy match. They have Chelsea, Newcastle United, and Bournemouth. Newcastle have the quality of a European level squad, even though they're far from that in the table right now. And especially given that a large part of why they've fallen so far is their midfield injuries. And a lot of those midfielders, in fact, I believe all of those midfielders are now going to be fit and healthy. That means Newcastle is a deceptively difficult team, in my opinion. And so I do think Nottingham can pick up a few points, but it won't be enough to go any higher than 16 for me.
Yeah, fair. And I have Nottingham 16th as well. I know I said a few days ago in our predictions video, I wasn't fully convinced by them how they have these great attacking talents, but they struggle to consistently create chances for them. They struggled in the Burnley game, though eventually they did rarely turn it around second half. But you have to wonder if they're always starting slow for like almost the whole first half, is that going to get them by in these games? I don't think that's quite been fixed. I'm not sure it quite will be by season's end. So with that decently tough schedule, I expect them to find a few draws since they'll never like truly pull away in their games. Better opponents can take advantage. Plus, like you said, they have potentially split priorities. But I think it is good that from what I've seen from Vitor Pereira, the interviews he's given, he seems to understand the difference in priorities here between the Prem and the Europa. So let's say, well, obviously they'll want some leeway with this next game versus Sunderland. So that they can have quite a bit more faith that West Ham or Tottenham don't somehow catch up to them. If they don't get points here, I think he's shown pretty clearly he is willing to just fully prioritize the Prem at that point, which is good. That he's not basically glory hunting for that Europa trophy and potentially costing them their league spot in the process. And yeah, I think just with the points gap, the decent points gap they have right now, and the teams below them being in a bit of chaos, a bit more unpredictable, I think Nottingham can scrape by with maybe even a 1 point lead only over West Ham. I think it's more like 2 or 3 is where they're going to end up. Yeah.
I'm putting them 2 points clear of West Ham personally. But so far, at least placement wise, we have agreed for the bottom 5 in the Premier League, 25% of the way there. Will we agree for place number 15? Who do you have finishing 15th in the Premier League?
15th is going to be Leeds for me. I mean, really, this is just for me. It's a bit boring these first few places. It is just like as it is now. But I
Well,
mean,
it's
I
not
will
for
say,
me, but
okay,
okay, that's fine
fair.
that you think that.
Like I will say Leeds have been on a heater lately because it wasn't even too long ago that though they were playing all right, they still seemed like any time they could get dragged deep into this relegation race. But they've been consistently like decent, I think. Looking more recently, even almost just like a mid-table team. The win away at Old Trafford, whooping Wolves. They were pretty good at Bournemouth today, too. Did get noticeably worse at the end of the game, but they were generally competitive. And what do you know? At the very end, they find the equalizer. So, as we've seen the whole season, great resilience in this team and generally pretty good quality as well. So, looking at the run in, I've got them. They beat Burnley. They draw Tottenham, maybe draw Brighton as well. And I think they lose at West Ham on the final day. But by that point, they're safe anyways. I mean, we've seen like great scoring from Okafor lately, DCL for the whole season. They've got guys like Aronson creating chances consistently. And for me, all that, especially the chance creation, is going to put them just that touch above Forest. And again, I don't think it's going to be a super big gap, but I think they will be able to stay ahead and basically stay where they are now.
I think it will be a pretty significant gap between Leeds and Nottingham. So much of a gap, in fact,
You
that
have
I don't
someone
even
else
have them in
down there.
15th.
Okay.
No, so much of a gap that I don't even have them in 15th. So much of a gap that another team is going to fall down there, and it's Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
And again, two reasons for this. One is playing in Europe is such a big distraction for Palace. And unlike with Nottingham, they are pretty clear to the point where they don't have to worry about split priorities. They're not going to be relegated at this point. And they also look at the squad depth. One lagging issue with Crystal Palace this entire season has been whenever they have had to play two matches in 1 week, it has always been problematic for them. And they're going to have to do that three, 2 to 3 more times in this season because they are going to be in the Conference League semifinals, and most likely they will end up in the finals as well. I believe they're playing Shakhtar Donetsk in the semifinals. You look at this Palace side and the depth that they have. I have a lot of faith and trust in their starters. And in fact, you know this. People who have watched us for a while know this. Players like Adam Morton, Ismail Assar, Daichi Kamada, I have said lots of good things for. But look at their backup midfielders. Will Hughes and Jefferson Lerma, I do not think are at the quality of a Premier League side that is trying to be upper mid-table, which are the ambitions of Crystal Palace. John Fleet Mateta is one of the worst strikers in the Premier League. Brennan Johnson has not scored a goal since signing for Crystal Palace. Their backups are not good enough, in my opinion. And in that last match that we saw them play in the Premier League, a midweek match where they had to play guys like Will Hughes, like Brennan Johnson, it made a whole hell of a difference. Brennan Johnson, I can't even believe he didn't score a goal in that match. He must have had 3 or 4 clear-cut chances. And that's going to cost them. What's also going to cost them is this run of games they have. In their last 5 matches, or their last 6 matches, I should say, rather, they're playing Liverpool, City, and Arsenal. That's diabolical. That's a really, really tough schedule. And so because of that, I think they're going to fall all the way down to 15th.
All right, fair. Well, though in 14th, I do have Palace, and I've only got them 1 point above Leeds, anyways. So I do agree with you. They're going to have all those issues. They do have a tough schedule. They do have the problems with midweek games. And yeah, on top of all of that, they will be prioritizing naturally the Conference League more than they will the Premier League at this point. But yeah, I don't know with Palace. They are like a very well organized team, I think. They don't have obviously a super deep roster, but I feel like with the players they've got at any point, they are generally able to like get quite a lot out of those players they've got on the pitch. The only problem in terms of roster, I think, because I'm not really that concerned about that, except for Adam Wharton. That is the problem. Obviously, it's a very big problem to have. But I think given the slight lead they've got now, they can get by. That's just what I'm going to say. I don't have necessarily too much of a reason to say it. I just think Leeds could have some of their own issues in the upcoming schedule. Might like click off a bit toward the end, especially if again they're playing West Ham, who need those points on the final day and are going to get them. And I don't think Leeds are going to do that much at that point because yes, I do believe they will be well safe from the drop as well. So I'm going to say they're pretty even throughout this like stretch. Leeds probably do get a bit closer, but ultimately Palace stay just ahead for me. I'm not sure if they were to also draw on points, if Leeds would still be behind. I think that might be the case. I would have to check the goal diff.
It would probably be Leeds would be
Yeah.
behind. But then again,
Okay.
given the catch up, you never know. It would be
Yeah.
negative. It's
Yeah.
-7 to -1 right now, so it's not out of the
Right.
question.
They can make it up. But I'm going to say just between the 3 point gap currently and also the goal diff, like if the points gap doesn't, if the points gap fails, I think at least the goal diff gap will make the difference. So I'll have Palace at. Just barely though. Yeah.
Another reason I have Leeds climbing up to 14th is as hard as Palace's schedule is, it's the opposite for Leeds. They're playing 3 squads that are relegation quality and a Brighton squad who, while challenging for Europe, match up horribly against Leeds. Brighton play as if they do not have a midfield, and Leeds plays as if they have two midfields. So it's a huge tactical advantage for Leeds, and the fact they're playing at home is only going to compound that to a certain extent. And then, like I said, Burnley, Tottenham, and West Ham on the final match day. Even though I don't have them getting any points against West Ham, I think just showing like the level of strength of that run in compared to the level of strength of Palace's run in, it's just such a big difference that it's enough for me to slightly give them a bit of a gap over Palace. I should also say, while Palace have a lack of depth in the midfield, Leeds have an abundance of depth in the midfield. Anton Stack is likely going to be coming back relatively soon, before the end of the season at least. They have guys like Sean Longstaff and James Justin as well, who have adjusted to the system very well as transfers, which is often a pretty difficult thing for a newly promoted club to do. You also look at guys like Tanaka. There are many players that Leeds can just keep rotating if they need to, if they pick up more injuries, that a lot of other clubs, I would even say some higher up clubs mid-table in the Premier League, don't have the luxury of. So for that reason, I'm bumping up Leeds to 14th. But that being said, who is finishing 13th in the Premier League?
13th. This is an interesting one for me because I was really gassing up one of their players in our last review video. It is
Were
Fulham.
you?
Yes.
Interesting. Oh yeah, Fulham in 13th. Okay.
I have Fulham in 13th. This was quite the toss-up for me between the team I have here and the team I ended up having in 12th. They've not been great lately from a performance perspective or a results one, but I don't want to hold that. I don't want to hold it against them too much because they can turn around. It's just they're going to have to do it real soon. And I'm not sure they will because, as we've said before, Alex Iwobi could be gone for most of these last games, and I think that is a real issue for their attack. We saw against Brentford the lack of creation, no shots on target by the game's end. And I think we're going to see a bit more of that from them. Maybe not playing that poorly, but generally struggling through their matches. I have them losing to Villa and Arsenal, understandable, but even in the more winnable games, Bournemouth, Wolves away, Newcastle, what I've ultimately come up with is draws across the board. Except maybe they do get 3 points in that Wolves game. But so that is why this is a toss-up for me. But still, I think Fulham are going to look flat for the most part. Not terrible. They're just going to look flat. And this stretch is not great for them. So with that, their European push just kind of withers away.
I look at that Wolves matchup, and in terms of placements, that is going to be a big determining factor.
Sure.
Obviously, not in terms of anything that matters if we're talking about 13th or whatever, but I do think that, especially if Alex Iwobi is out, I actually think Fulham become more press resistant and more resistant to counters, and that is how Wolves likes to get their points. And because of that, I actually have Fulham getting a win over Wolves, and that means that my 13th place team is not Fulham. It's Newcastle. And let me talk about why. Newcastle, like I said, have been underperforming since basically the start of the year because of all their players being injured. But this is another case where I look at the remaining fixtures, and I think there are some tough matches there. A Brighton side, ironically, because Newcastle have deprioritized the midfield, whereas Brighton is a good matchup for Leeds, a bad matchup for Newcastle, in my opinion. A Nottingham Forest side at the City ground, I think, is going to be a pretty difficult matchup for Newcastle as well because of the scrappiness and the necessity that Nottingham will be playing with. And while I do think they can pick up some other points here and there have been huge problems with the offense all season. I don't think Bruno G and Joelinton and whoever else coming back is going to automatically solve that issue. And there just isn't a lot of confidence in the locker room of that Newcastle squad right now. Eddie Howe's job is in clear danger. Players like Anthony Gordon are trying to take the first plane out of there as soon as we reach summer. And I don't think that there is the cohesiveness in that squad to finish strong and set a good foundation for next season the way that I think that sort of mindset will exist for Fulham.
Yeah, I agree with you. And though I don't have Newcastle that much higher, I have them in 12th, actually. I do agree. It's not going to be a great finish to the season, not exactly a great start to next year. I have them actually tying Fulham on points, which means the various draws I expect Fulham to have, including the Newcastle on the last day, will make all the difference here as the Magpies go ahead on goal diff. Again, from 13th to 12th. So how much of a difference does that make? Not much, in my opinion. But really, this team is just drifting to the finish line. we all know it by now based on how many points they've managed to drop from winning positions. They can't control games, especially in midfield. Honestly, even with their midfielders starting to come back, it's not been great. But of course, like at their when they were at their worst, they were dropping so many points, and obviously that's going to hamper them now, right? Um, they do create pretty well. They consistently score at least a goal, but you know they're only one mistake away from losing everything in any given game, and that's just what's been happening in all their games recently. However, though, since they have got home games against, I think, the right teams in their final schedule, I want to say they can do a bit better now, and that'll keep them just ahead of Fulham for me. Lose to Arsenal, of course, but I'm going to say they draw against Brighton at home and Forest away. That one, to be fair, is definitely questionable. A win at West Ham, and then again, another questionable one there. But that draw at Fulham is going to be the big thing for me because there could be a bit of variance, I think, in the results for these two teams that I've got going. But ultimately, it is that last game that's going to make the difference. And I'm going to say Fulham, or sorry, not Fulham, Newcastle. Actually, they'll go in tied. They'll go in tied, and they'll stay tied coming out. That's basically just what it is for me. But it's only 14th to 12th on the table. And with the situation about Eddie Howe being so shaky, talks of like a big summer rebuild, this is just them waiting for the first chance to like press the reset button on this team. Whatever
I feel like
place
the
they,
Saudi owners have been not liking Eddie Howe for a while, and they've just been looking for the pretext to get rid of him. The
yeah,
pretext is now here. We'll see what happens.
any place from like 12th to 15th. Well, okay, anything below like 10th, I think, and it's Eddie Howe out. They want
Yeah.
that excuse. If it's double digits, he's gone. And at this point, it's definitely looking like double digits for Newcastle.
Yeah, this has not been a good season for the Magpies. Going from top six contention to, oh boy, we're talking about lower mid table in the Premier League. Not good at all. The difference for me, by the way, I think we actually have the exact same scorelines, or at least the exact same results for these two teams. It's just that I have Fulham beating Wolves and you don't, and that's the separator there. But again, very close results for us so far. So the bottom 12, or sorry, the bottom 8, I should rather say, we basically just have a few flip, but other than that, we're basically agreeing
Yeah,
so far.
all the
Here's
key
where it's going to
places
get a
are
little bit
basically the
dicey, I
same.
think. Here's what's going to get dicey. 11th, who do you have?
11th, another team. I said some quite different stuff about them in the last overview
That's
compared to now.
every team. That could
Yeah,
be
no,
anyone.
yeah, no, but who did we have getting the last European spot last time? Do you remember?
Brentford?
I think we said
Who
Brentford
was
would
it?
get kicked out of there. We ended up
Oh, we said
having
Everton.
Everton. Yes. I'm
Ah.
aware I had them in seventh in our last league overview. I mean, obviously, with how squished this part of the table is, they can definitely finish that much further down. Okay, first off, this team hasn't gone to shit. I'm going to be very clear. They looked better for sure before the international break. They haven't gone to shit. It's just, I feel like their schedule is really not helping them get from 10th, where they are now, to a spot higher up. They've got West Ham away. I said it before. That's one of the games that's yet to be played in this current match week, week 34. I think that's a draw. Lose at home to Man City because it's City and they're chasing the title. Loss away to Palace, not as clear cut given Palace's situation having so little to do in the Prem. But I just think the Eagles, they're not going to go 6 losses straight to end off the season. They're going to get a win somewhere, and I just think it's going to be at home for them against Everton. 1-1 at home to Sunderland. Maybe, yeah, it's the toughest of the bunch of their matches. Sunderland, I think, are just on the better form right now, and that negates like Everton's home advantage that they'd have in this game. And lastly, I will say they do, like I said earlier, a 1-1 to Tottenham, who are trying to save themselves from the drop on that final day. I don't think any of these results are that bad from Everton, but ultimately they do put the Toffees in 11th. It's unfortunate, but this mid table is just that packed right now. I'm saying they're not too far off on points, but unfortunately they are on placement.
Yeah, I mean, that is a pretty tough fixture. I mean, you still do have them finishing only 1 point lower than, or one place lower than they are right now. So nothing too bad. But again, because things are so close, I'm very happy about this because I feel like we often agree too much on this channel. Because once again, I'm going to have to disagree with you. This is, I think, now the, what, like fourth or fifth placement in a row where I've disagreed with you. Because brace yourselves for impact, comment section. I know you're not going to like me saying this. I have Sunderland in 11th.
Wow.
I
Okay.
know. Sue me. Put me on the cross. I understand. I understand I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I know you're all thinking that Sunderland are going to finish in the Conference League, but I don't think it's going to happen yet this season, even though I do think that you have a very, very strong squad with you. I look at the Sunderland set of fixtures, and I think that there are some pretty tough ones in here as well. That last three match weeks in particular, that's a pretty unforgiving last three match weeks to have because you have a United side who is looking almost assured to be in the top four, an Everton side who, while you have them in 11th, I think we can still agree that they're very much in contention for Europe, and a Chelsea side which we should presume, although we can't be certain, will get a little bit of a new manager bounce from, sacking Liam Rosenior. So I think Sunderland absolutely have the capability to go a little bit higher, but they've been overperforming all season. And honestly, now it sounds like I'm patronizing Black Cats fans, but I think this is good for you, actually. I think it's good you don't go into Europe this season because you don't have the squad depth to compete in Europe and the Premier League yet. And you don't want to be a second team, you don't want to have a second team bounce back like many clubs have in the past. And I do think that with what Sunderland have done so far this year, it's been very impressive in my opinion. A very strong midfield, being resilient with all the injuries they've had all season. I think they're still missing some key pieces in order to compete as an upper mid-table side in the Premier League. I think there's a lack of an experience uh, in the front three. I would say there's a lack of Premier League experience in the back four, and that has at times caused some silly mistakes, which have cost Sunderland quite a few points. The midfield is strong, but I don't know that the rest of the squad, construction-wise, has gone to the level of the Granit Xhakas, Diarras, Lefay's, Sadiki's, etc., etc. So I think in the coming set of fixtures, this is surely going to be wrong. It's very unlikely this actually happens, but they have 5 games ahead, and I'm giving them 5 draws.
Okay. Yeah. So you said Sunderland 11th. All right.
And you have
Then
Everton
we'll
11th.
yeah.
All
Then we
right.
will go to 10th, where I have another team we said was going to be pretty close to that European race. I have Brentford here. Uh,
Oh, okay.
Another tough finish. This team looks good. They play pretty well, but those 5 draws in a row, I think, are really going to hurt the Bees. You look at their games, you see guys like Jensen, Damsgaard, Lewis Potter, all creating. Thiago's usually there to finish it off, but when he is even a little quieter, I'm saying this shit just does not really work out for Brentford. It is maybe a worse version of the Holland over reliance that City had at the start of the season. It really had to work out before that they could get these goals, and they didn't. And now it is a lot harder to see, I think, where the wins come from between their comparing their last 5 games to the final 5 of the season. United, City, Liverpool, all away. West Ham, they do play at home, but are going to give them a real dogfight. I've got a draw against the Hammers and a win against Palace, but they lose the rest. And to be clear, it has been a great season for these guys after being stripped of their talents last summer, with so many people having them going down this season. But again, those earlier 5 games have put them in an unfortunate spot for these last 5. And in my mind, not much more they can do to get back to the European places. It's unfortunate, but it's kind of the hole they've dug for themselves.
I mean, they're still only 2 points behind Brighton right now. If they win their next match, they would be sixth place. They would be in a Europa League spot, potentially even a Champions League spot, depending on how the clubs in the Premier League do in Europe. Now, if you
Yeah,
are a
yeah.
Brentford fan, if you're a B, don't worry because I don't have you out of the European race
Okay.
just yet. Because I don't have you in 10th. I have Everton in 10th. And I think there's one player that you haven't mentioned that must be mentioned when we talk about Everton for the rest of this Premier League season. It is the fact that their best defender, Jared Branthwaite, will not be playing another minute in the Premier League this season. He is out for injury. And when I look at their next few matches, there is one game in particular where I think that's going to cost them. Against Sunderland, at home, I would have had them winning that match, but we know how good Sunderland are with crosses and set pieces, and without Jared Branthwaite as a presence in the box, historically speaking, without him, Everton have really struggled to defend aerially. And because of that, I do think that they're only going to be relegated to a draw against Sunderland, and that means that I cannot put them any higher than 10th.
Okay, yeah. So Everton 10th. All right. Um, so we finished then. Well, I guess we were already done the back half once we did 11th. But yeah, it is basically now into the single digit places. Um,
And by the way, let me just set up the stage here because now we're getting very close to Europe,
yeah.
coming out now to the ninth spot. I believe is it the seventh or the eighth spot, which is the lowest that can enter Europe.
I mean, technically, from what I've seen, it could go up to 10th, but realistically, it is going to be Villa win Europa League and go to 5th, and that would get an 8th spot for Europe, which would be 6 UCL spots, 7th is Europa, 8th is Conference. That's the most realistic out of those like potential options for extra spots. More likely, it's just going to be 7, but yeah, 8th can definitely have European hopes as well.
But ninth, it's not looking very good.
Ninth
So
is
the
not.
next team you say is also going to be getting the spell of doom. Who is the next team not qualifying for Europe for you,
Well, I would say
Romeo?
it was Rosinier's team, but not anymore. It is Chelsea, though. Yeah.
You have Chelsea in
Um.
ninth.
Yes, I have Chelsea in ninth. It is a bad
Look
fucking look
away,
for
Chelsea
Chelsea, but it
fans.
is.
Oh no,
I mean,
that is not
it's a
good.
bad look for Chelsea, but Chelsea aren't looking good right now as a team, are they? Just look at their last
Yes.
game. Looked like they'd never played a minute with each other before. Not only was there terrible chemistry, but this was a gutless display, I think, where we hardly saw any individual potential showing. Kadiolu was finding some crazy shots, and not a single Chelsea player could find one shot on target. If I'm not mistaken, there was not one shot on target in that game. Plus, they're too easy to play through right now. No control in midfield, fullbacks getting exposed, which I did say I thought the Brighton wingers were going to do, but it was way worse than I thought it would be. Transitions are killing them way more often than they should. You can talk about Rosinier, the LinkedIn manager, and his ambiguous tactics, but I'm telling you, the players on their own are just as uninspiring as his game plans are. It's a good thing he got sacked today, but they still don't look great. Looking at this run in, I'm thinking they draw Forest, they lose to us at Anfield, because I know we're shit, but they are too. They beat Tottenham, maybe just off individual quality. And then I have them losing to Sunderland away on the final day. It could be an honorable loss. I'm thinking it'll be a pretty shitty one. And if it is, if we see these players acting like they're halfway into summer break, halfway into vacation, then ninth is generous and they should be worried, very worried about next season. Yeah. The
Right.
fans need to
At least the ones
fucking
that aren't
riot if that's
leaving,
how it
right?
ends off.
You know.
Yeah. But the fans need to start a riot if they do not get a performance in that last game. And that's keeping in mind that if they do win that game against Sunderland, I still don't think they make Europe at that point. But if it's like a bad
Interesting.
loss, you need a riot and kick Blue Co out for good.
And the thing is, knowing Chelsea fans today, again, I'm going to be shitting on everyone today. I don't know that they will be rioting. I mean, this is a team that celebrated losing 3-0 to City just to show on Arsenal. This is a club who, from the owner to the management to the coaches to the players to even the fans, has gone from one of the best in the world to absolutely spineless, in my opinion. But luckily for Chelsea fans, you're not on my chopping block yet because I don't have you in ninth. I have you eight for higher. My ninth place squad is going to be a squad that you've already mentioned. It's going to be Brentford. I can't put them much higher than ninth personally because I think that all the issues that you talked about earlier are still very much true for the squad. Too reliant on Igor Thiago. Dango Tora and Kevin Schade have not been the same as they were before. Too much reliance, I think, on the midfield and on long balls, which has not been working as well as it did in the past. And I look at their last few matches, and they're playing United, City, and Liverpool in their last 5 matches. That's a pretty tough run in. And though I do think they can beat West Ham, and though I do think they can get a result against Palace, that is only enough to push them into ninth.
Okay. Yeah. Eighth place, then, the European hopefuls we're going to have in this next spot. So, can we just overview quickly who we have basically eliminated from Europe at this point, out of the like expected contenders?
Sure.
I've put
And can I just mention one other thing because we will not only be saying because let's for the sake of assumption, let's be generous and assume that Aston Villa win the Europa League. because I
Okay.
think they will win the Europa League. I don't know about you.
Yeah, but do they finish fifth or lower though? That's the thing.
Right. So what I'm saying is that we will know by the end of our predictions whether or not the eighth place team is making it into Europe. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
True.
So
Yeah.
that is assuming you think Villa is going to win the Europa League. I don't know if you're ready to say
No,
that.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So 11th place I had Everton, 10th I had Brentford, and ninth I had Chelsea. So those three are eliminated for me. And you
And
said you've got
I've got Sunderland, Everton, and Brentford at this point eliminated.
okay. Yeah. Eighth place. I
All right.
think you will be a bit shocked by this one, not necessarily because of the team I have here, but because of the team I don't. It is Bournemouth.
Huh?
I've got Bournemouth here.
What
You
does
do
that
understand what
mean?
that means, right? Well,
What does
because
that
one of
mean?
those teams you had eliminated is in.
Wait. Wait a second.
Well, you'll understand when I get to my
Sunderland!
next place or
You have
next place after
Sunderland
that.
making Europe!
Yes, yes, I do.
Oh my goodness! You have Sunderland making Europe! Oh no, you
See,
make
I tried
dude,
not
I
to
look like a
react when you
jackass
said you
now,
had
man. Come
Sunderland
on.
in
I
like
look like a fucking
10th or 11th.
jackass. What are you doing?
I tried not to make any reaction when you had like Sunderland in 10th or 11th.
No. No, no,
Um,
no, 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 no.
yes,
No.
they get
No.
it.
You
They
can't do
get
this to
Europe.
me.
They get Europe.
No,
They
they're
get
gonna
Europe,
hate me in the comment section. They're gonna hang
and
me.
they will love me. I guess it's
Oh
unfortunate.
no. Oh no.
Okay,
Oh no.
Bournemouth. To be fair, I think Bournemouth can absolutely make it to seventh. Could even go for sixth. They've been on good form. Uh, More importantly for me, they have been just so fun to watch. So impressive in these last few games. Even in this draw earlier today versus Leeds, they should have seen it out as a win. To be fair, the overall performance was still very strong. I think just through these last few games, they have been consistently good. I know at one point I described them, I think it was Bournemouth that I described as decent to good. As of more recently, they've been just good, I think. They control games very well now, not pressing like crazy, but they know when to slow it down. And they build through guys like Scott and Christie, who have obviously given them a huge boost recently with the midfield balance. And you've got the young guys stepping up too. Krupi, Ryan, real quality and confidence there. The only thing that's holding them back is, well, sometimes they just cannot turn a good performance into a win. So they do have little lapses often late on in games, not quite to the extent of Brentford, but they can add up in a game and end up with missed points. I think eighth as a finish would be a bit unfortunate for Iriola's last season with the Cherries. But again, I do think there's a chance that they finish better than I've predicted here, and maybe they do make Europe after all. Even in this eighth spot potentially, which would allow for a pretty nice send off, I think, and they would have a good shot. I feel like, although unfortunately that wouldn't be Iraola's to manage unless he sticks around. Maybe
I think they've actually
if they
confirmed
get
his
Europe as
replacement
possible.
already.
They have. Do we
Yeah,
know
that
who it
this is a
is?
team that likes to plan ahead.
Oh,
I
we
don't
know
remember his
who's-
name,
Okay,
but
well
I
that's
can. But there is a person lined up already. I think
well
they've
now
given him
maybe well
a
now
3-year
maybe
No,
Iriola's
actually,
not
no,
gonna
no.
win you eighth place. Maybe I should be concerned that he does that out of spite. But okay, yeah,
Why would he? I don't think that's going to be honest. I think
no,
this is a jovial,
okay, yeah.
it's a mutually beneficial termination because this is going to be Areola potentially joining a new club. I mean, he's going to be joining a club that's down bad, that's big. I don't know who that's going to be, but maybe
I've heard
Chelsea.
Madrid,
Maybe
man.
Chelsea. You
I've
never
heard
know.
Madrid for Uriola.
Madrid, interesting.
Yeah, I could see it. Depending on what the
The
options
Dean
are,
Hoytson connection,
I
huh?
could see it. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Right. I mean, of course, yeah. If they get lucky with Villa winning the Europa League and dropping to fifth or lower, the Prem does get that other UCL spot. So Conference League ends up with eighth, and yeah, that's Bournemouth in Europe, which would be pretty nice send off for Iriola's reign. Yeah. But I think they're good though, and I like from eighth to sixth, it's going to be very close for me, and I think they can absolutely like push for seventh or sixth. Yeah.
Yeah, well, for 14th to 6th is going to be close to me, so that's fine. So the teams, remind me one more time, who are the teams that you have from ninth to 11th?
So ninth is Chelsea, 10th is Brentford, and 11th is Everton. And Bournemouth is, I guess, kind of my last out for Europe,
All right.
unless again you consider an extra spot from Villa.
Well, just like you, one of the three names I have being in the top 7 as well, because my eighth place team rather, is Brighton. Brighton a squad that perennially, just by the tiniest of margins, always misses Europe, except for that 1 year of De Zerbi. They're going to do so again, in my opinion, just by the slimmest of margins. That is assuming that Villa do not finish in fifth. This is because I look at their run in. I look at the last few matches they have. There is a match away at Newcastle that's going to be pretty tough, I would say, especially with Newcastle getting their midfield back. And like I said, that tactical mismatch for a Brighton side that likes to play without a midfield. They do have Wolves, who I do think they can beat. They're playing Leeds away, which is never an easy matchup, in my opinion, especially given, again, that midfield advantage or disadvantage, rather, for Brighton. And then finally, against a red hot United, yes, they will be at home, but never an easy matchup. So I think Brighton have the capability to be in Europe. They might even still end up in Europe. But that last few matches, that last run of matches, it's going to be quite difficult, in my opinion. I think they can only get 4 points in their last 4 games. And that means that one undeserving team gets to sneak up right ahead of them.
Okay, yeah. All right, so that's eighth place covered. Now we are on to the certain European places, and this is where I have Sunderland in seventh. Yes, it is
Okay.
a big jump from 11th that they currently have. Um, but I don't think it's that unlikely. I feel like they have been a good side for like Bournemouth. They've been a good side for quite a while now. Even that Villa game, they conceded four, and obviously they came away with nothing. I thought there was a lot to like there. They weren't perfect, obviously, but they went away to one of the better teams in the league. They scored three. They had great structure throughout. They have, as I think they do in all of their games, they follow a play style and they follow it through to the end. Structure, midfield quality, lots of different threats, so that like Brighton, they can count on someone to score in every game. And even when things get messy, again, Sunderland stick to their guns and things I think tend to work out for them. I trust them more than most of the teams around them to keep playing their game, and that's why I've got them sneaking in here. I think it's going to be a win against Forest, draws away at Wolves, at home to United. I think Stadium of Light advantage can kind of edge that out for them, edge out the
But
one
if you think
point.
they're beating United, you're saying?
Oh no, just the draw because
Okay,
think
okay.
I think United is better, but it is the stadium that I think can maybe like turn that little advantage for United back towards Sunderland and draws what it'll be. Away at Everton, I think they can draw that too, and I'm gonna say they will beat Chelsea on the last day. That could be a pretty entertaining game. I don't know if Chelsea get a bit desperate to at least finish off kind of well for the season because at this point in my mind they're gone from the European race. So maybe it's like a little high scoring. But I think for the most part, Sunderland can just steadily rack up points. And honestly, like if any of those draws can manage to turn into a win, I could have Sunderland in sixth, which is kind of crazy given you don't have them in the top 10. But
Wow.
yeah, I could
They're
see
gonna
it. Again,
crucify me, dude. They're
it's
gonna
this eighth
crucify me.
it's this 8 to 6 section with Bournemouth and then Sunderland and then my sixth place team that I could have kind of like shifting around a bit. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But I guess I do rate them a bit more than you. But again, it's not like a big points difference here, so we're not
It's not at
necessarily
all.
saying they'll
Yeah.
be that much better or worse, right? It's just the margins is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, my seventh place team, as much as I would not like them to be in Europe next season with all these other squads we're mentioning, unfortunately, I think Chelsea can scrape through into seventh. Um, Again, I do think the new manager bounce is going to help them to a certain extent. And while their attack has been dreadful so far in the last few matches, I think what is it the first time in over 100 years that they haven't scored in 5 straight matches?
Yeah. Since the Titanic sank or something like that, 1912.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean we did the Great Depression meme with Arsenal. This is even
Right.
worse. Oh man. They do have Joao Pedro coming back relatively soon. In fact, I think he might be playing in their next match, if not right after that. And I do think we cannot underestimate how much of a generational carry Joao Pedro was for their offense throughout large parts of the season. I would say Liam Rosenior certainly did hamper that to a certain extent, but whenever you have a new manager bounce, and especially given there's not a lot of matches left for that manager bounce to wear off, I think that could push them just that little bit over the edge. I think Joao Pedro is going to find form. I think there's also going to be potentially other players that like to find form. I think Caicedo has been having an off few months, and we know his quality. He could improve. Steve Yao could certainly improve. I think Steve Yao has been just misused this entire season, and we know the quality he has. And while I don't think he's a good player, Pedro Neto tends to randomly become a little bit less shit when a new manager comes in, and so I do think that we could see a little bit of that as well. Now, obviously, there are certain players who I don't think this will have any effect on. Like, subject number 49 is going to always be subject number 49. The back line is what it is. Robert Sanchez is going to make a mistake every few matches, but I think it will be just enough for Chelsea to sneak into the Conference League, and they can be the first team ever in the history of UEFA to win two Conference Leagues, which I'm sure, alongside the Club World Cup, will allow Chelsea fans to pretend they're the best team in the world for another decade.
Great honor for Chelsea. Yeah.
Great honor.
Well, then in my Europa spot, final team before the current UCL spots, anyways, I've got Brighton. Not only are they a pretty complete, well-balanced team, but I think on top of that, everyone is doing particularly well right now. Chelsea were bad in that last game, sure, but Brighton took full advantage. As I was expecting, Mitoma and Minte were constantly threatening out wide. And the midfield, Baleba, Gross, Hinshelwood, just kept turning the screw, turning up the heat. Rudder was a poor shooter, but he found an assist. Then you sub him off for Welbeck, and he scores his 13th of the season. And you have, again, Kadiolu get a goal from left back. He could have gotten 2 or 3 in that match. This could have been a lot worse for Chelsea just because of him. All these players stepping up, goals coming from everywhere. I'd say they're a threat to just about everyone, even City or Arsenal maybe. And it is possible that that wears off a bit, but I think they just look like at the peak of their performance right now, that even if that wears off, they'll still be pretty good going into those final matches. I don't think they win all their games because they do have a bit of a tough schedule. I ended up with them in 6th. I could have Sunderland or even Bournemouth here too, like I said. But yeah, I mean, even if I have a few draws for Brighton, if they find one win there, I think they're pretty secure in 6th place. So all of these teams I've got here, again, from 6th to 8th, I think they could do perhaps a little bit better than what I've predicted them. But I just think Brighton have the higher ceiling right now, and so that's why I'm going to have them here.
I think, hang on, did we agree at a single place between 6th and 15th?
Well, to be fair, we've had little offsets, but at the same time, it is
pretty big offsets too. Clearly,
from 6th to 11th, it was wildly different. So those are
which is not typical. But again, good content. That is good content. My 6th place squad, predictably, is going to be Bournemouth. Here's the thing, right? Brighton could finish 6th. They could. But it's predicated on them continuing to win matches because they're a very streaky side. And I don't think that they can get a win in their next match away at Newcastle. Bournemouth, on the other hand, are 14 games unbeaten. And that seems to me like a lot more durable of a streak. And I do think they will eventually get that loss. But it will be on the second last match day against City. That's the only loss they have for them remaining. And of the other 3 matches, I think they can beat Palace. I think they can beat Nottingham on the final match day. And I think that they can get a draw away against Fulham. And even though the side has not been always the most consistent attacking-wise, the old maxim about Bournemouth that I've been saying for the past 2 years I think is still very much true. Between Evan Nielsen, Krupi, Ryan, and Tavernier, somebody will have a good night in any given night. And that's why, even when it's felt like their attack has not been good, even when they haven't been converting chances, they're still at least getting results. And that is something that very few teams, if anyone else, that's competing with them for this Europa League spot can say in their own right. And so I think they have a pretty favorable last few matches. I think the other teams below them for me are either looking worse or just have a tougher fixture. And so I think this will be enough for Bournemouth, a side that several had tipped to potentially be relegated this season, will be finishing in a Europa League spot.
Yeah. Well, that takes us then to our UCL places. And I do think we are going to start to come back together in terms of our predictions by this point. But probably, in 5th place, I have got us, Liverpool, taking what is for now the last UCL spot. I know some people are going to say, oh, Brighton have got 4 wins and a draw in their last 5. They can beat you. Chelsea, if they manage to pick up pace again with the new manager, they can beat you.
Chelsea?
No, I don't think so. Maybe the Chelsea fans think so. I don't know.
The Chelsea fans think they're the best team in the world. I don't give a fuck. Congratulations for
I
winning the
mean,
Donald Trump Invitational. I don't care.
we are very hard to pin down as a team right now. Like with the Everton game, for example, we looked completely lost for stretches, but we won the game in the death. Anyways, the overall level hasn't been great, but I think there is enough quality in moments that we are able to get results and just get by in a lot of these matches. Like I said, we were going to play like rats in that Everton game, and to an extent, I think that is what we did. But now we can see generally there are some improvements. Salah has been a great improvement as of recent, as is Rio on the other wing. Gakpo is finally showing some signs of life. So if Arne Slot has got to play Gakpo every single game, well, I'm pretty pleased with that at least. And I think
Why
like
does he
that's
keep
what
playing
this
Gakpo, by the way?
hell if I know. It's just
Okay.
it's the Dutch design. That's all it is.
I just feel like there's a very
He
clear
wants half
front
the
four for
players
you
here to be
guys,
from the
and he
Netherlands if
shouldn't
he
be
can
one of
manage it.
them.
Yeah.
But
He wants
whatever.
half the players here to be from the Netherlands if he can make it happen. But I think what this placement is going to come down to for me, instead of someone overtaking us from behind, is we are getting just enough right now from our players where we don't control consistently, but we can reliably like take a key chance or two when they come to us. And again, with Chelsea faltering and the others in the European race a few points behind us, I think that'll be enough. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, you would expect us to agree, wouldn't you?
I mean, I would, yeah. No?
My fifth place team is Aston Villa.
Okay.
Um, this is a little bit awkward
All right.
because you just said we're about to converge, and we're not converging.
Yeah, not yet, not yet.
But this is a good side. So to sixth place to seventh place Chelsea, disgustingly, you guys end up in the Europa League, which is just horrific to me. Bournemouth, though, hey, Bournemouth in the Champions League, that's pretty nice, right? I mean, hey, if you're a cherry, that's okay, so maybe not the worst. And then Brighton do end up sneaking into the Europa League, which is a nice result.
So this is why you've been avoiding commenting on me talking about the sixth UCL spot isn't likely. Okay, I see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So look, Aston Villa, right? Here's the issue for me. I said Aston Villa should focus on the Europa League because they're not dropping below the top five. Just for context, the sixth place team, Brighton, right now, who have a game in hand over them still, are still 8 points below them. So just mathematically, Aston Villa are not going to drop below the bottom five. And so Aston Villa are going to focus on winning the Europa League. Why wouldn't they? And I look at the next few matches they have. So they're going to be playing against Nottingham Forest in the semifinals, which I believe they will win, and then they will be playing in the finals. Now, this is very important because the semifinal matches, the matches that are sandwiched in between, are what are crucial to me. Because I have made the same criticism about Aston Villa that I have about Crystal Palace, is that they are still lacking in squad depth. And even if everybody healthy, I still sometimes think that there are some issues, especially with the backups. We talked about Jadon Sancho in the last video. I think some of the midfielders as well are not exactly up to par. Ross Barkley, for example, I don't think is at the level that he needs to be. And Evan, actually, no, that's not. I was going to say Evan Gesson, but I think he's now at Crystal Palace. So I think that also does symbolize some problems with this Villa side. And so I do think that they're not going to do too well. And that Europa League matchup, do you know when that's going to be? That finals?
The final. I mean, well, they do all go after the league is over. The Prem is over.
They do not. The
They
Europa
don't.
League final.
The Europa is before. Oh wow.
The
Okay.
last match.
Because I know Europa is first, but it's actually before.
It's actually before.
Okay.
And so they're going to have a Europa League final sandwiched between Liverpool and City. And that was the deciding factor. In fact, if I had initially had Aston Villa drawing against Liverpool, and that would put Liverpool in fifth and Aston Villa in fourth. However, because of that, I think you guys can get lucky that Villa are going to be deprioritizing that match and you'll get the win. They'll get a loss. They'll lose against City as well in the final match for the same reason because those games are so close apart. And because of that, I think Aston Villa will get 9 points from their last 5 games. They will win the other 3 matches, which is pretty interesting because I would have potentially knocked them down even further because in between those 3 matches, sandwiched in between those 3 matches are the 2 Europa League games. But I just think that Fulham, away from home, Aston Villa can win. And Tottenham and Burnley are just too bad. They're just too horrific, shambolic terrible sides. I mean, they're two sides I have going down, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem for the Aston Villa side. Um, Also, I think it should be mentioned that John McGinn, I believe, is still out. He's probably going to be coming back relatively soon, but a little bit of a bad sign for this Villa side. And again, I think they absolutely could go higher. If they wanted to go higher, they could, but I don't think they want to. I don't understand why you would care about finishing fourth for third over winning a Europa League.
Yeah, fair. So what that means then is Villa finish fifth, give the Prem an extra UCL spot, and so Bournemouth make their first ever European competition in their history, and it is the Champions League.
That's correct.
Okay.
Bournemouth playing Champions League football, my friends. That's
and
right.
Chelsea left in the dust. Wonderful.
Chelsea
I mean,
left
at
the
least
Europa League.
at least you have them in
Chelsea
Europe,
playing at
though.
their level.
But at least you have them in the Europa. I don't have them in Europe. So, yeah. Okay, well, you had Villa fifth. I had Liverpool fifth, and I guess we are basically swapped here because I have Villa in fourth. Who I'd say they don't look quite like the Villa of a few months ago when they were pushing for like first place with these consistent, controlled one-goal victories. I remember they had. It's not quite the same team we're seeing now. Against Sunderland, that lead, to me at least, did not feel safe through that game. Perhaps part of it due to Sunderland being there the whole way through, but Villa definitely did allow some good runs from them. But sure enough, Villa did almost throw the whole game away. But what they do have come to save them is this constant attacking threat because Watkins is on fire. Rodgers is also on fire. We know that Villa are not afraid to play these like risky line-breaking passes to try and open the game up quickly. But they are taking those chances, those quick-fire chances that they create, even better now than they were before. Which means, yeah, they can look unstable for a while in a game, but they can just as easily turn it around for themselves. It's not always clean, their games, but it can be quite effective. And again, they trust their players to make these things happen. They don't really over-control everything. If a game gets rough, they have been really good at finding the big chance they need to swing it back. This consistency, I think, that they somehow have in finding late goals and other big late plays, combined with that lead they have now, I do think they stay comfortably ahead of us. 2-3 points. At the very least, they definitely do not lose the UCL places. I think fifth is possible because we will be within the distance where it's like one win over one extra win and we can get ahead. But yeah, I think for Villa, they'll be pretty fine here. And they can probably still win the Europa while they're at it. I think Nottingham is their biggest challenge for sure. I'm sorry to say it, but I know you said this earlier where you like hesitated in a previous video to call the semifinal the Europa League final. But I feel like that is largely what it is. I could
don't
be
want
proven very wrong.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
I am saying Villa will win. I'm not saying that.
I do think Villa have very good odds at this point to go through and win the whole thing. I will take them to win it for sure. And I think they can do that and they don't lose fourth. It might get close. It might even get down to 1 point, but I think they stay ahead of us. Yeah.
Yeah, so you said that I had fourth and fifth flipped. I don't know how to tell you that that's not true.
Dude, I thought we'd be like at least maybe going to third. We could be from third to first. We might just be aligned.
My fourth place team is Manchester United. My fourth place team is Manchester United. I swear to God, I'm not lying to you.
I was thinking you might tell me it was Man City, and then eventually we go and win the title. I don't know.
Well,
okay,
maybe I will. Maybe I will say that because I haven't mentioned you yet.
Go on.
I haven't mentioned you yet, so maybe I will say that.
I'm aware. Go
on. Aston Villa, I said are going to get 9 more points. That'll put them at 67. I also have United getting 9 more points, and I have them finishing 67th. In 67 points as well. I can't speak right now because I'm too focused on the idea that I'm dumbfounding you so hard. I think just to brain fuck you a little bit more, Liverpool are maxed out at 70 points, which means that you can still win the Premier League on goal differential, mathematically speaking. So, just brace yourself for the next few minutes is all I'm going to say. Sure. Be ready.
Sure.
Fuck. Right.
You think I was thinking about we have a chance mathematically to win the title? No.
Now you are. I put it in your brain. I placed it in your brain. You're welcome.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. This is Arne Slot in for the next 1,000 years if that manages to happen.
This is artist not having like a fucking oh my god. This is
Okay,
that would be
Man
like
U.
the
Man.
Leicester City winning the title, but on steroids. That's what this is.
Okay,
Yeah,
Man
I
U.
mean, I will say so. You've just compelled me to take a look at this. Your odds of winning the league, according to Opta, do sit at it's 0.00. Okay, never mind.
Well, yeah, obviously.
You're right. I don't know what I'm
Have you
saying.
seen
Okay,
us
my
this season?
well, miracles happen, and I believe in miracles, and I haven't mentioned Liverpool yet. So, anyways, Man United. Here's the issue: Bruno Fernandes is going to, in all likelihood, not only win the assist battle, but very possibly, and I think very probably actually, set an all-time Premier League assist record. In my opinion, before I even say anything else, I think Bruno Fernandes can, should, and will be the Premier League Player of the Year. Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on,
Okay.
if he sets the all-time assist record and he's scoring too, I don't think there can be anyone else.
Yeah.
Especially when like Holland at the start of the season was a little questionable.
But social
Obviously,
media tells me that Bruno Fernandes is washed and wouldn't be able to start on any other team in the Premier League.
dude,
They
I'm a
tell me he
Liverpool
only stays at
fan.
United because he couldn't start anywhere else. That's what they tell me on
I
social
could
media.
rag on him just for the sake of the derby, but I'm not even doing that. I mean, well,
Yeah.
okay, not quite derby, but still, like county rivalry. I'm not even doing that. Come on, POTY for him. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, while we're on it, remember 1 year ago when the only person defending DeMarco in the world was me? You
Yes.
remember that? He's going to win the Serie A Player of the Year as well, and deservingly so. He's the best player in Serie A this season. So,
Still doesn't have a Champions League though.
neither does Bruno Fernandes. So,
Fair. Yeah. They get it. They get it next year. Don't worry. Actually, I shouldn't root for that. I'm a Liverpool fan. I
fuck?
don't know.
Who? Inter or United?
No, man. Bruno will carry them. Bruno's too good.
Isn't Bruno leaving?
Is he?
I
He's
thought
leaving?
he was leaving. Is he not leaving?
Thank God. Good Lord. I hate having to play against Bruno, bro.
Bruno Fernandes
Thank-
going to Napoli, joining up with Scott McTominay,
Thank God
the greatest
for Bruno
midfielder in the
leaving
world.
Man U.
Scott
Okay.
McTominay, Bruno Fernandes, and Kevin De Bruyne, bro. What? The Champions League is. Wait, Napoli is going to make the Champions
Wait,
League.
bro,
Right?
bro, you haven't discussed why Man U are fourth, man. Come on.
Sorry. It's because the front three is dog shit right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Fair enough? Yeah.
Sheshko, Cunha, and Buemo, they are all ghosting.
And also,
Yes.
Mbeumo might be injured for a little bit as well, which is not going to help. And Amad Diallo has honestly not been that great this season, in my opinion. He's been a moments player, which is cool for high points or in social media, but again, not the consistency you want. But again, Manchester United, like, I don't think I've ever shot on Manchester United. I think I've been more pro Amorim, even though obviously it was a good idea to sack him. We were never as reactionary towards him as I think the average football fan was. I have nothing against United, by the way. Like, a fourth place finish, considering where they were last season, is a colossal accomplishment. Having the player of the year is a colossal accomplishment. And this season, I mean, use to sign a few more midfielders, shore up the depth here, maybe sign an experienced veteran attacker, get some better fullbacks. I don't really think United have to do all too much to be on trajectory towards one of the best teams in the world, because their squad is just so young. So a fourth place finish again, like, is very, very good for United. And I think any non-delusional United fan, if you told them at the start of the season they would finish in fourth place, they would be happy. I don't even know if they would believe
Yeah,
you,
to get used
right?
to get UCL they'd be ecstatic, I'm sure.
So I want to just make it abundantly clear that I am not hating on United whatsoever by not putting them in the top three.
Yeah, okay. Well, I am. I guess I'm the boring guy here because like a lot more of my predictions have been in line with just what the table is right now. But yes, I have United here. I'm not going to
Says the guy
say
that has Sunderland in seventh. What are we talking about?
you. Okay, yeah, fair. I mean, I don't have much more to say about United than you do. It's just like I think, like Villa, maybe even more so than Villa, this team very justifiably trusts that they can find a way to get through any game. They find something. I mean, look at the Chelsea game. I know Chelsea were shit, but Man U had a patched up backline that could have actually finally allowed the Blues to score. But instead, the defending is calm, helped massively by Aiden Heaven's great performance. The structure stays firm. There really is not much coming from that Chelsea offense.
How do you
because of
not
that.
score at home against a center back pairing of a teenager and a right back? Chelsea.
Chelsea. But to be fair, United did everything they needed to, I think. Um, and eventually a chance does fall for them. Cunha goal. And what do you know? It's Bruno on the assist. The freedom this guy has got to drift wide, combine, create chaos is massive. He is constantly finding those little pockets or making those runs that just open up the whole pitch. With him on the team, Manu, obviously they're not perfect. They play scrappy quite often, but they have resilience and just enough control again in these key moments that they can edge out these wins. And I think they can continue doing that. My exact results could be like they beat Brentford, and then I think they beat us at Old Trafford as well, which should lock in UCL for them by that point. I'm gonna say I did say earlier I think they draw away to Sunderland, um, and then they could have like another draw away against Brighton as well toward the end. Does mean that if Manu lets up in either of those expected draws for me, it does make a big difference in my version of the European race. But United don't care. They're sitting
Right.
pretty in the UCL spots right now, right? And again, I think even if they do finish fourth, like you said, there is a lot for United fans to be happy about right now.
Right. So you want to guess my third place team is? Okay.
Come
I'm
on, man.
sorry. I'll stop trolling. But seriously, though, the fact that they have Villa losing and not drawing to Liverpool, and the fact that they have United drawing to Liverpool and not winning, like you said, look with how close the points are. That is
Yeah, it does make the difference, right?
so that's why I have United and Villa on 67 points and Liverpool on 68, and that is
Okay.
going to put them just ever so slightly ahead. And they are quite lucky because in their schedule,
Agreed.
a Palace side that does not look good right now for Liverpool. United, they happen to play them away, and so I think they'll scrape by with a draw. A Chelsea side that just so happens to be self-destructing, a Villa side that just so happens to have a Europa League final to play, and then Brentford. So you guys do not deserve to be in third. You have just gotten you've just rolled a D21 on a 20-sided die. That's why you're in
I mean,
third for me.
but to be fair, like I don't think any Liverpool fan is thinking we're going to finish third right now. This is just Darian Yan. This is just Darian.
Okay, come on. What are we? Listen. I don't understand why you're trying to make me sound unreasonable here. They're only 3 points behind third. This is not
Right.
that crazy.
Right, but we're Liverpool in the Big 26. We're like dog shit, man.
Okay, but have you?
I mean,
considered...
okay, but
okay. Hang on. Counter argument: Rio and Gamua.
fine. Counter argument:
okay.
Cody Gakpo can go back to being trash anytime.
Counter argument: you guys are going to starting Isak and Verts, and so
Is that a counter argument?
Counter argument:
Isak.
Isak Verts. Counter argument: Isak Verts, Rio Salah, and Salah has gone back into form, and you can't.
Counter argument: my boy Ekitike is gone, bro. Rest in peace.
Counter argument:
Killed off by Dictator Mbappe, man. Gone too soon.
Dictator Mbappe. Fuck.
Okay. What do you have to say about
Counter
us?
argument: Allison is very possibly coming back for the Palace match.
Okay, fair. Yeah, that's fair.
There we go. Does that mean I win?
Sure. Why not?
Nice. No, I do think though I can't. No way Gakpo keeps starting, right? No way. Because as much as you guys love starting Gakpo
It's
for no
slot,
reason,
man.
you also love starting Verts for no reason.
Yes.
So, and then you
So
also
think we just pick lesser of the two poisons?
right, and I also think that Isak
Okay.
is being eased into rotation. So I imagine he's going to be playing more minutes now than he was, a week or two ago. So I just see a front four that doesn't include Cody Gakpo in it. It is my reasoning. Obviously, if you do play Cody Gakpo, you guys are finishing fifth. I'm not,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to be so real here. But I do think that certain things have gone a little bit better. And also, you guys have the most lucky schedule possible. Not in terms of the quality of opponents, but given what is happening to those opponents right now. It's crazy. I think if Villa don't beat Nottingham, I have you guys finishing in fifth. So much of this is not even up to you at all. But yeah, I mean, Allison's I think is going to come back. Rio and Salah have looked really good recently. Isak, I'm cautiously optimistic about him actually. I think he did look solid against PSG, and from what little I've seen of him, I don't think he's actually that bad at all. I would say even Gravenberch is coming back into form. Konate is coming back into form. Obviously, the fullbacks are what they are, and that's fine. But who are you playing? I mean, Palace don't really play with wingers. United's wingers are dog shit right now. Chelsea's wingers are dog shit right now. Villa's going to be thinking about the Europa League, and Brentford's wingers are dog shit. So I mean, you match up well against everyone you're playing. So
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
most of my logic is even about you guys. It's about your
Yeah,
opponents.
it's just a lot of luck, right?
It's just a lot of
I do
luck.
think I will say in terms of Gakpo, I might be a bit pessimistic, but you seem to trust Arne Slot a lot more than I do.
You
I'm
guys
just saying.
listen. You're playing a team that doesn't play with a system that has wingers, a team that's focused on the Europa League, and three teams whose biggest weak points right now are their wingers. Like, what are the odds of that?
Yeah, we're also playing with a Dutch manager who has Dutch affiliate or whatever the love of Dutch people is called. I don't know, man. It's going to be Gakpo, Grav, and Van Dyke always starting. I think that's what it is. It's this is what we get with Slot. This is the package
Well,
deal.
look. I mean, I think you guys are actually going to keep him. I have a feeling over this
We
summer.
we're committed to keeping him at this point. Like the
Oh, you
ownership is
are?
practically
Like
committed to.
officially?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
they. I think they've gone out of their way to state that they're committed to
How do
Slot.
you feel about
Like
that,
they
by the
could
way?
change
Because
their mind, but
how do you feel about that? Just personally, as a Liverpool fan, should he stay or should
um,
he go? Because I think
I don't think it's
we've been
been
very
that.
close
Like
to
I
saying he
don't
should
think it's
go.
been that bad. I agree, but I'm gonna say now. Yeah, let him stay. I think a lot of this has been down to individual like poor player performances. A lot of the stuff that gets blamed on him. It is easy to go back to the manager, but I don't think everything is down to him being shit at tactics. It's fine. Could we bring Xabi Alonso on and would that be better? I think so. But like I don't think Slot is that bad to keep at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, you can, I guess, let Xavi Alonso fall to Chelsea instead. No, I'm just kidding. Let Xavi Alonso fall to United instead. Maybe is a little bit more realistic. Yeah. Third place, or I mean, fifth place is actually pretty bad. I can't lie. Third place. I think
Yeah.
if at the start of the season I told you you'd finish in third place. Would you even be that mad about it?
Third place?
Because I remember at the start of the season,
No, I
there was
wouldn't
a
be.
big three, and you guys were one of them. And so you
Yeah,
finishing in third would not be that
it
crazy.
wouldn't be. Finishing
So
behind Villa is quite questionable.
right, but that might not
Yeah,
happen.
right.
All right.
Fair, fair.
So we don't agree from third place to 15th place. Will we agree on who wins the title? CoDaKrew
Yeah, we can
Podcast
do.
2025-26 prediction. Swapnil. The winner of the Premier League this season will be.
No, I was actually gonna go match by match. First and second. Let's do it in pairs. I think. Title race. Let's
Oh
go
boy.
week by week. Yeah.
You want to go week by week?
Um,
Okay, let's go week by week. Sure.
Neither of these teams, obviously, City and Arsenal, look fully flawless right now. They are both doing quite well though, and they keep finding wins. Again, like they manage to find their moments whenever they need them. Uh, the only time that's not really going to work out is they're going to play against each other, and obviously there has to be a winner there, and it ended up being City. But I think Arsenal did pretty well. I agree with a lot of people what a lot of people have been saying, which is that it's been their best performance in quite a while now, and they can absolutely go like band for band, game for game in these last few match weeks. I think City only beat Burnley 1-0 earlier today, which is a big missed opportunity. I had them winning 3-0. Really should have been more. So I've got Arsenal beating Newcastle 3-1 to keep them decently ahead in the goal difference stat. Then Arsenal takes care of business at home with a 2
Wait. Do
0
you want to
against
go
Fulham.
like an Arsenal match and a City match at once? I thought that's what you meant.
Yeah, no, I am. Because City's match just played out. So this is Arsenal beat Newcastle 3-1, and that's match week 34.
Okay.
Week 35, Arsenal get a 2-0 against Fulham. City match them 2-0 against Everton. And it keeps going. City 3-1 Brentford. Arsenal, I'm going to say 2-1 West Ham. City go to Bournemouth, and they win. I'll say this is going to be a very entertaining one. 4-2. I think Bournemouth will play a very honorable match here. It'll end up kind of like when we played them at the start of the season. It's going to be 4-2 for me.
Okay.
Literally, it could be like City 2 goals, Bournemouth 2 goals, City 2 more goals.
Okay.
Literally just how our match played out. Arsenal will get that 3-0 scoreline at Burnley. I think they're going to do what City was really hoping that they would. The one other thing is City have that game in hand versus Palace, and they handle that 3-1, which sets this up. They will be level on points and level on goal difference.
And
for
who's
the
ahead
final
on?
day.
And is City ahead on goals scored coming to the last match?
City would be, yes.
Okay.
Arsenal go to Palace, solid 2-1 professional win. yeah, City will do what they did back in the 21-22 season when they beat Aston Villa 3-2, and they will
Oh my
take the
god.
title on goals
You are
scored.
giving Manchester City the title on
On
goals
goals
scored.
scored, not goal difference. They will have like 3 or
Oh
4 more
my
goals scored at that point.
goodness.
That is the title.
Wow. Now, here's the situation for me, right? The situation is you have going down goal scores. I don't have score lines. I only have the margin for every team. I should have put score lines, unfortunately, because I do also have every team, both teams winning all the remaining matches, and I also have it
Okay.
going down to goal differential. But I'm just gonna say because it's 47 and 47, I'm just gonna say the amount of goals each team wins by each match week. And what I've done instead is technically City have played their match this match week and Arsenal haven't. But because City have a game in hand, I'm going to pretend that City's next match week and Arsenal's this match week are aligned instead. So that makes
Okay.
more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's do this. Arsenal, I have them beating Newcastle by 2 because Newcastle have been
Okay.
dreadful and they're at home. I have
Yeah.
City only beating Everton away by 1 goal because I think City don't really use the aerial attack as much as some of these other teams in the mid-table do. So I think Arsenal are going to have a 1 goal differential lead after that first set. But then away against Fulham, I think Arsenal only going by 1 goal. And I think Man City can smash Brentford at home by 3 goals. So that's
So
going to give
City ahead
City
by a goal
now
now.
the goal differential
Okay.
advantage. Next match week, Arsenal play West Ham. I think they smash West Ham with 3 goals of their own. And Man City only beat Bournemouth away by 1 goal. You said 4-2. I think more of a 3-2 is what I have in mind for that match.
Okay.
And that brings it back to Arsenal, back up by 1 goal differential. This is I swear I did not do this on purpose at all. By the way, I promise. Then Arsenal go to Burnley. They take care of business, winning by 3 goals. And Man City also take care of business against Palace, winning by 2 goals. Meaning on the final match day, Arsenal are 2 GD ahead.
Yeah.
On the final match day against Palace, I have Arsenal winning by 1 goal, which means City needs to win by 3 in order to beat Villa. And my final scoreline for City against Villa. Let me set the scene. Actually, I think that the first goal is going to be from Antoine Semenyo. Then Holland
Okay.
scores, and then we're going to get Turkey scoring, which means it's going to be 3-0 and Man City win the title. Except in the 93rd minute, Morgan Rogers scores a screamer, sending the Premier League title to Arsenal Football Club.
Okay. Yeah. We're going between goal diff for you and goals scored for me, which
This is
is
fucking ridiculous.
either
The
way
Premier
quite
League
a
isn't
wild
decided
way
by
to end the
either
title.
goal difference or goal score. That's stupid.
I mean,
It
but
should be
they're
head-to-head.
level. They're level right now. I mean, they've played out the same number of matches, and at this point, they're level on points and goal diff. City are literally, for anyone who's not aware, by the way, ahead on goals for or goals scored right now, as we speak, by like 3 goals. So obviously, City have got to keep pace, but if they do, it is their advantage because they just have more goals overall.
Right.
But yeah, again, I will say 1-0 only against Burnley was a
That's
big
pretty
letdown
bad.
for City.
That is
Yeah,
pretty bad.
it could very much cost them, which is why I'm saying, like, for me, initially I had City 3-0, and I put in like my predictions to try and figure out these final standings before that Burnley game even started. And then I updated it and I realized, well, now things get pretty fucking interesting on the final day, even
Yeah.
more so than they would have been originally. Yeah, it is because at that point I think it would be, well, if City managed to like go down on goal diff on the final day, what I would have had originally is the only way to do that is if they lose and Arsenal wins by default. But now it is goals scored.
The good thing for Arsenal is that
Potentially, yeah.
in the remaining run of fixtures, I would say Arsenal actually have a significantly easier run of fixtures. So I think they can more easily score goals. The issue is, will Arteta give up Haram ball? And I think
He has to.
here's why I think he will. Because we've seen Arsenal play attacking football a few years ago with a very similar set of players as the one he has right now. We know what they're capable of. Odegaard scored 15 goals in the Premier League season. Ebrechi Eze is who he is. I fully believe that if Arteta stopped playing by the percentages and Honestly, I think if Arteta at the start of the season had the exact same tactics as he has now, with the exception of he only plays Eze on the wing, he tells Eze to do whatever he wants. He plays Odegaard as the number 10, and he tells Odegaard to do whatever he wants. Arsenal would be ahead of City by 10 points right now in the Premier League. I truly believe.
Yeah. It would be more like last season for us. Yeah, I think it would be.
I absolutely believe that. I think Arteta really screwed up by being so overly pragmatic. And like I said, I think maybe a month or two ago, pragmatism is dead in football. You need creatives. You need a Ryan Turkey. You need a Mo Salah for you last season. You need an Ousmane Dembele, a Harry Kane, a Michael Olise. You cannot win trophies when your best player is own goals. You don't win like that. And I think Arteta has to figure it out. And we give him so much shit. But he has still coached this Arsenal side from absolutely diabolical from their banter league era.
Yeah,
to where they are now.
2021 season was terrible, but
Right.
It's almost like Simeone for Atletico. But it's just unfortunate Arsenal are always finishing second. But you think they can turn that around here?
The thing is,
he finally makes the realization.
In every season where Arsenal have bottled the league, can we honestly say that in any one of those seasons they were better than the person that was chasing them? The team that was chasing them? No, not at all. This season, I think it's true. So if they lose the Premier League this time, I think Arsenal are bottlers. Clearly, Mikel Arteta is a bottler. Okay. Clearly, sack him. Start from scratch. You're finished. People are going to leave. This is not, fine. I do think that before the entire social media world eats crow, which they do all the time, I want to be careful. I just think that looking at the scorelines, looking at the matches that are left, I just think that Arsenal can just about edge it out still.
Okay, yeah. I mean, either outcome we have is very much edging it out. Because it is very likely.
It's fucking goal differential or
relatively
goal scored,
speaking,
bro.
It is very likely that they end on the same points total.
Wait, so hang on. Wait. Let me just. So we didn't agree on a single placement from first to 15th.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, that's good content. That's
great
good
for the CoDaKrew. Yes. Enough. Yeah. It's been too similar as of recent. Yeah, that's a video right there. And one of us is going to be very pleased with this video and the other very dejected by the end of this season.
Right. Or we both look like clowns and, Manchester United win the Premier League.
At this point, you might as well say we win it,
bro. I don't. Why is third place?
It's mathematically possible. No, third place is not. But I feel like you're fluffing us up so much. I know I'm being pessimistic, but it's like we're trash, bro. We're trash. We're terrible. We're terrible, man. I'm serious. Okay.
You guys played okay in that second leg against PSG. You guys deserve to at least get a draw. You don't think so? Really? You disagree? What did PSG even... Dude, you guys... Nah, in the first half we were better.
Oh, okay, sure. But I mean, if you can't finish, you can't finish. It just is what it is. I don't know.
Okay, sure, but I think that wasn't you guys can't finish. That was Safanov turned into... I don't even know. French Buffon, bro. Like...
We need Alisson back. We need Alisson back. And if he comes back, I think third is...
Listen, if Freddie Woodman... If I in a week, right? When the lineups come out, Liverpool against Crystal Palace, if I see Freddie fucking Woodman in between the sticks, then everything I said has been null and void. To be clear,
okay.
Like Alisson has to be back for you guys to be third.
Yeah. So even your places are like. I mean, everything we've said here could be extremely volatile.
If Aston Villa lose to Nottingham Forest in the Europa League, which has nothing to do with you. Then I think you finish fifth. That's between third and fifth, probably. Not even third and fourth. Third and fifth. Okay, so let's be so like between the top two and third and fifth is a massive. In fact, the difference, the gap between second and third for me is 17 points. It's a big fucking gap.
Yeah.
For context, so between second and third is 17 points for me, right? Between third and 11th is 17 points. So let's just be so clear on the gap here between the two best teams
what
in
I
the
have
league
here as well. It's like 18 points for me, that gap. Yeah,
Yeah. So
it's
so
close. I mean, that's what we've been saying, right? They're like still a good. If we say it's up to eighth place for Europe from like sixth to eighth. There's like six teams that could get in there, possibly.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a fun
Chiefs.
watch. Stay tuned. Stay locked in for all these last few match weeks, guys. It's going to be a fun watch. Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Again, like I'm not sure for it's another like stretch where I'm not sure I can necessarily pick out certain matches and be like, well, these are matches you've got to
every
watch. I
match,
feel like
every fucking
every
unless
match you
listen,
can tune
except for
into,
like the
tune
ones that
into.
Newcastle play, I guess, because that whatever.
Okay, man. Yeah.
Wolves, Burnley, whatever they'll just take their L's, whatever. But you
Right.
know,
All right. Well, we'll see how these matches go, and yeah, maybe at the end of the season we come back and we review. I don't know, like every single time we've done tables over this
sure.
season. Yeah,
I
especially
want
these
to ask
last
one more
ones.
question. Is this the most when is this is the most cinematic Premier League finish since? I'll let you fill in the blank.
Since like ever, bro. Come on, it's okay. It's potentially on goal diff, and it's Arsenal to finally win a title or be the second team to
Bro, I was
bottle
hoping you were gonna
four
say like
times in a
18,
row.
19 or
It's like,
something, man. Come on, because I was gonna
whoa,
say ever. This is
I
the craziest Premier League ever. Premier League finish
yeah, yeah,
ever.
I
It
agree, I
is.
agree. If it goes the way that either of us are saying it will,
Well, I didn't
absolutely,
want I didn't want you
yes.
to say that. Okay, whatever.
I mean, 1 point difference or goal difference, right? I would take GD. That's definitely the most entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness, this is gonna be a crazy Premier League, man. Brace
Yeah,
yourselves,
that's
everyone. Brace
right.
yourselves.
Well, that's all
Also,
for
people are
us.
gonna clown me for saying Arsenal's finishing first and Liverpool's finishing third. I already know in the comments. So now I actually want them to come true because
Okay.
that way the people who comment and say that I'm a buffoon and say that I'm, an idiot or whatever, I can comment back on those comments in 1 month and be like, haha, El Bozo, you were wrong.
I'm just waiting for Sunderland in Europe. Sunderland fans watching, please remember to come back and clown Darien if you guys get Europe.
Honestly,
Please
I
do
would
that.
be so happy for you guys if we got Europe that you are welcome to clown me. Like, fair enough. You deserve it.
Yeah. Okay.
Where did you have Sunderland finishing in the Premier League at the start of the season?
At the start, 20th. Where did you have Sunderland finishing at the start of the season?
I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
Okay. We're done with this video.
Alright.
We'll be back whenever this fucking match week ends, because I don't know why it's long as hell. We will be back for another set of predictions. Yeah, stay tuned, guys, for another upload from the CoDaKrew.
See ya.
Have a good one.